Hello everyone, it's Jack Cotton, luxury real estate expert, author, and agent. I'm here inside my beautiful, luxurious, but not overly ostentatious Cape Cod office, talking to you about agent marketing, personal promotion, and branding. My favorite form of branding, my favorite way of conveying my brand is through public relations. Number one, because it's free, but number two is it's like a third-party endorsement. I mean, no matter how much money you spend to buy an ad in the Wall Street Journal, it'll never have as much gravitas or weight as an above-the-fold article on the front page of Mansion in the Friday edition of the Wall Street Journal. So let's talk a little bit about public relations. Here's an example of above the fold, or below the fold, I guess, front page of Mansion in the Wall Street Journal with an article we had about one of our listings. So talk to your company, if you work for a company or if you are the company, talk to the media and find out what are their criteria for accepting articles and news-related items about certain listings you may have. I know some periodicals like the Wall Street Journal always want to have an exclusive, so they want to make sure they're the first ones to feature something. So keep that in mind when you're doing public relations about a specific property. But all public relations needs a hook, and I get my hooks from Cosmo. This is an old issue of Cosmo magazine, but if you're standing in the checkout line like I often do, and I look at the cover of Cosmo, my eyes always go right to the articles on the front cover. Like, you know, I circled here with a magnifying glass, 8 things guys notice instantly. Because I can turn that into a real estate article, such as 8 things luxury home buyers notice instantly or should notice instantly. So that's a great hook. Now my feeling is that Cosmo spends $1 gazillion focus grouping and researching what they put on their cover. So if I can just change a couple words to make the headlines more into real estate, I can sort of piggyback on all that research that they have done. So that's where I get a lot of my headlines from. And I always like numbers in my headlines. I personally like 7, 10, 12, or 21. If you look at magazines on the newsstand now, because the economy has not been doing as great as it did in years gone by, you're going to notice things like 127 or 232. They're trying to create more value by having hundreds of items in an article, but I think that's almost overwhelming to people. So when you're talking about writing PR or writing a newsletter article for your own newsletter and you're writing a hook, stick with smaller numbers. 7 is a magic number. 7, 10, 12, or 21 are my favorites. But here's some sample hooks that you can use. You can steal these. How the new blank impacts your blank and blank things you need to do about it now. There's a hook you can use to create your own PR article. Here's how it would work. FEMA, the new flood regulations. How the new FEMA regulations will impact your luxury real estate and 7 things you need to do about it right now. This is a great hook for a newsletter article or a PR piece that'll likely get picked up because it's so compelling, because the hook is so strong. Here's another one. Blank things every blank should know about blank. Fill in the blanks. 7 things every luxury home seller should know about photography. What could that be? What could those 7 things be? See, we turned it into a hook. People really want to read this because the headline is so compelling. That's why they call them hooks, because you get hooked when you see it. Here's one more. What you can learn from blank about blank. Careful with that one. What you can learn from luxury home sellers about maximizing the sales price of your home. I wrote an article about this with a similar headline years ago. It got picked up by over 200 newspapers across the country and actually turned it into a book. So this was a really strong hook that worked very well for me. So there's some examples of hooks, how you can get PR. Go ahead and try some out. Send me some examples. I would love to read them. In the meantime, don't forget that the first Tuesday of every month is luxuryrealestateunplugged.com. Log in, try it out, let me know what you think. I look forward to seeing you on the first Tuesday of the month, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Until then, make it a great one.